Ladies, whatever it is that you are not changing, you are accepting. Again, ladies, whatever you choose not to change in regards to your life, you are accepting. And no one else is to blame but you yourself. Okay? The other day I talked about us objectifying ourselves. And remember the quote that I said, what that gentleman said? He said, if you choose to objectify yourselves, you cannot get mad when a man chooses to objectify you, meaning to treat you as just an innate object, okay? An object which has no feelings and emotions. So why would a man invest feelings and emotion to something that doesn't even have feelings and emotions? You put yourself out there like that. Well, today we're going to talk about you being subjective. And your subjection is really causing a lot of damage within your life. We're going to talk about this. Now, in short, being subjective simply means your own thoughts, personal feelings, emotions, views towards something. And that something right now is you. And that is very clear of how you feel about yourself when you allow yourself to be subjective. Get me, okay? I need you to get me, follow me in the situations that you're in. One of the things that we do in life coaching, when I got my life coach years ago, and when I became a life coach and did my training, the one thing that we teach people from the get-go is boundaries. Because this is something that if you grasp it, you will never be the same in life. There's a writer by the name of Carolyn Mize, and Carolyn Mize, oftentimes she speaks of, how can I say, the archetypes of people, okay? And you have to figure out your archetype. There's different ways of going about that. Me, I have the archetype of savior, salvation, okay? And sometimes us as saviors, we will actually create circumstances so that we, because we have a need to help, we need to be needed, right? And that can be very dangerous. And so as I matured as a leader, when I was in law enforcement, things of that sort, as a coach, as an entrepreneur, and people that I meet, oftentimes I have to set boundaries with my archetype because I want to help. But I am very clear about this. I save the savable, and I'm only helping people who choose to first help themselves. We're in a day you cannot convince people, you cannot trick people, you cannot manipulate people in helping them and helping themselves. When it's their time, they will come around, and hopefully you are around or available. If not, well, they'll just have to find somebody else, all right? So going back to subjective, I see a lot with women, for whatever reason, outside of objectifying themselves, they have these very deep-seated, and this is on a subconscious level, okay? Viewings or reasonings or thoughts about themselves, and it plays out within their lives. Prime example, and why I'm doing this video, I have an associate friend of mine. I like her. We talk, we chit chat all the time and what have you. And she finally confided in me, and this is a woman that's in law enforcement. And you all, I'm not all subscribed to the whole Me Too movement, all right? I was in law enforcement where I seen broads lying about rape on a regular basis, lying on their baby daddies because they're pissed and they in custody battles. So I'm very jaded or just nonchalant when it comes to these type of things, right? I need evidence. But because it had happened to me, I know her boss. And the boss came up on me in a very unprofessional manner. So I was already like, okay, so I had to check him, right? So me and her, we're talking, and she comes to find out she's going through a bad case of sexual harassment. I'm talking about, you all, it's grotesque in nature, right? And to the point, the savior in me rises up. And I'm like, this is a tough woman. This is a broad. She has credentials. She could do, there's so many other things. And I'm like, okay, look, right now, we just need to get you out of the situation because you cannot be subjected to it, to the point where we think some criminal acts have been taking place because of what her boss is superimposing on her in her life, right? So I don't want to tell the whole story. I just want to stick to the subject matter. So the subject is, I'm telling her, there was a couple of times where I'm trying to help her with some different things, because I do business coaching and entrepreneurial coaching. I help people in the gig economy. I do a whole bunch of different stuff. So I'm like, look, this is easy. I can yo, we can make this happen. And the entire time, this woman is making excuses like the broad got Stockholm syndrome. And I'm like, dude, you know what you just told me, right? You know what's going on. And then I heard that voice in me, and I just got calm, and then I just shut up. I just shut up. Because you ever try to help somebody, and the more you try to offer reasonable, sound, helpful, insightful information, the more they justify the wrongful actions of others. Those people are so deep in their delusion. They're so deeply ingrained. You got to shut up. And I want to tell you all that if you have someone around you that is in this situation, there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is pray on their behalf and hope that they come to some realizations. And it's so sad that I see so many women allowing themselves to be subjected to environments, living statuses, jobs, love relationships, marriages, even being mistreated by their own children, and they accept it so nonchalantly, almost as if they're deserving of the wrongful treatment. Especially my Black sisters. Let me tell y'all something. You owe nobody anything. Okay? We're going to dive more into this. Now, let me ask you, what are you subjecting yourself to? Huh? What are you? Is it poor diet? Is it you not taking care of your body? Is it you not taking care of your love life? Is it you not taking care of your marriage? What are you allowing yourself to be subjected to? Because if you allow yourselves, and that's one of the things I evaluate with my clients. I sent an email. If you watch some of my other videos on YouTube, that's one of the things that I get out ASAP. Because if I can't see what you are accepting of within your own life, I don't care what kind of package, I don't care what videos I send you, I don't care what books I send you, I don't care how I fast or pray, how we fast and pray together, how you go on this holistic wellness journey of I don't know what the hell you want to call it, but no matter what I do, if you allow yourself to be subjected to ill actions of others, or hell, better yet, sometimes it's not what people are superimposing on you, but what you are imposing on yourselves. The responsibility lies with you. And until we can identify those things, you're going to continuously go in these races. Let me tell you something. It's one thing to be ignorant to these things. I remember, growing up, I would say I had an eating disorder growing up. I'm what you called a binge eater, closet eater when I was younger. A lot of that was induced or caused by sexual abuse. Okay. And so luckily, almost a decade ago, was it a decade ago? Maybe 6-7 years ago, I came to this revelation. I'm actually finishing up my book in reference to it. But even though I subjected myself, or I was subjected to these things, it came to a point in my life that the excuse or what was superimposed on me was no longer acceptable. See, the thing about it is, you all, the sinful natures or the wrongful actions of others, like that young lady I'm talking about who's being sexually harassed. Y'all, if I told you how bad it is, it was so to the point where I wanted to go run up on this nigga. You hear me? But it ain't my business. Where was I going with that? That's what it is. The Lord showed me how, Kimberly, at this point, I understand what you've been through. I understand you didn't even have an understanding of what was transpiring, and these seeds were sown in you. But it comes to a point in your life that the seeds, because the seeds are nothing but weeds, and they ferment it, they spread, they grow, and they grow, and they grow. But then it gets to a point where you can uproot the weeds. Remember in the Bible it says the tear grows with the wheat, right? And it's almost you can't even tell which is which. But it got to a point where I was able to identify the wheat, which is the good, fertile, fruitful, things within my life. And I was also able to identify what was the tear, the weed. And a lot of you all have weeds in your lives. And those weeds, I don't care what has happened to you. I don't care. If I told you my story and things have happened to me and the people that I've coached, and I have story after story after story. And I'm telling you, with all of us, at some point we have to take ownership, because at some point you choose to hate, you choose to be mad, you choose to subject yourself to certain situations. Okay? This time I talk to people that go, oh, I'm in pain, oh, I'm sick. You ever talk to someone and something's just always wrong and you just don't care? You just don't care, because it's like you're not even doing nothing. You're depressed, but you're not doing nothing to help yourself. And it sounds cruel, it sounds wrong, it sounds like we're not being sensitive, but how many times we talk about how we can't be around toxic people and we can't allow someone else's toxicity to impede in our lives, because it's a tear, it's a weed, it spreads like kudzu. What in your life is your kudzu? What is it that you're subjectifying yourself to, or what is being subjective in your life because of you? Can you tell me? I'm pretty sure you know those things in your life that you are allowing. Let me tell you something about me. When I got laid off a couple of years back, I lost everything. Did I have to lose everything? No, I can't. Now, it was poor money management. I was like, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna travel the world. Didn't quite happen like that. I had some great experiences, but it came at a cost. But I was willing to allow myself to be subjected to a new way of life to follow my dreams. I was adamant about not going back to a traditional job. I was adamant about developing as a woman. I was adamant about fixing my attitude. I was adamant about having experiences. I was adamant about going a different way. But it came with consequences, but temporal consequences. See, the problem with a lot of you all, just like with my homegirl, see, she didn't want to deal with the consequences of her life might get a little bit more tight. She may have to work some different hours. She may have to go to a place that's going to challenge her. But she would rather be subjected to the harsh, nasty, vile treatment of men or of a man and lose her dignity than to go somewhere and have some self-respect. I'm gonna leave with that. I'm Kimberly Lipstick and Fit, and I will talk to you all later. I'm gonna have some more for you, but we're gonna leave it right there. Bye, my loves.